I always believed my parents loved my brother more than me, but I never imagined just how far that favoritism would go until the day they died. And when I opened their will, I realized something that changed my life forever. Because apparently, I got nothing. Everything went to my brother. The house, the savings, the land, even my mom's jewelry. All of it. And that's when I decided I wasn't going to stay silent anymore. Growing up, my brother Daniel was always the golden child. He was 2 years older than me, charming, funny, and somehow always in the right place at the right time. If he broke something, it was an accident. If I broke something, it was irresponsible. If he got average grades, my parents said he was trying his best. If I got average grades, I was told I needed to work harder. It was always like that. But I tried not to care. I focused on my own life. While Daniel partied through college, I worked 2 jobs to pay my tuition. While he traveled with friends, I stayed home helping my parents with bills and errands. I thought, maybe one day they would see my effort. Maybe they would appreciate me. Maybe they would treat us equally. But I was wrong. 3 years ago, my father got sick. Cancer, the kind that drains everything from a family. Daniel visited for a few days, then disappeared again. Work trips, friends, vacations, excuses. Meanwhile, I practically moved back home. I drove my father to chemotherapy. I cooked meals. I handled hospital paperwork. I slept on the couch for months. Sometimes I would sit in the hallway outside his room, just listening to his breathing, terrified it might stop. My mother would cry in the kitchen late at night, and I was the one holding her hand. Daniel? He called once every few weeks. Hey, how's Dad doing? That was it. But still, my parents defended him. Daniel is busy. Daniel has responsibilities. Daniel will visit soon. I stopped arguing. I just kept helping, because they were still my parents. When my father died, everything changed. The house felt empty. My mother became quiet and distant. Daniel finally showed up for the funeral. He hugged everyone, cried loudly, and acted like the most devoted son in the world. People even praised him. You raised such a caring boy. I remember standing in the corner thinking, where were you when Dad couldn't get out of bed? Where were you when he asked for you every night? But I didn't say anything, because fighting at a funeral felt wrong. After the funeral, Daniel left again, and once again, it was just me and my mom. For 2 years, I took care of her. I paid half the bills. I fixed things around the house. I even turned down a job opportunity in another city because she said she didn't want to live alone. Family should stay together, she told me. So I stayed, because I believed family mattered. Then last winter, my mother died suddenly. A heart attack. No warning. No goodbyes. One moment she was making tea in the kitchen. The next moment, she collapsed. I remember the ambulance lights reflecting on the windows. I remember the silence in the hospital hallway. Daniel arriving hours later, looking more annoyed than sad. A week later, we met the lawyer to read the will. I wasn't thinking about money. Honestly, I just wanted closure. The lawyer cleared his throat and started reading. At the request of the late Mr. and Mrs. Thompson. My heart was pounding. Then the words came out. The family home, all savings accounts, investments, and personal belongings will be transferred to the eldest son, Daniel Thompson. I blinked. Wait, what? The lawyer continued. The younger daughter, Emily Thompson, will receive sentimental items as chosen by Daniel. Sentimental items. That was it. No money, no property, nothing. For a moment, I thought it had to be a mistake. I looked at Daniel. He was smiling, actually smiling. Guess Mom and Dad knew who deserved it, he said casually. I felt like someone punched me in the chest. You're joking, I said. Nope, he replied. Their decision. I turned to the lawyer. There has to be something else. But the lawyer just shook his head. This is the official document. And just like that, everything I had done for my parents meant nothing. Years of sacrifice, gone. That night I packed my things and left the house. Daniel didn't even try to stop me. In fact, he said something that still makes my blood boil. You can visit sometimes. Visit. The house I helped maintain for years. The house I paid bills for. Now I had to visit it like a guest. I walked out without saying another word. For months, I tried to move on. I rented a tiny apartment. I worked longer hours. I told myself money didn't matter. But the betrayal stayed with me. Not just from Daniel. From my parents too. Why would they do this? Why would they leave everything to the son who barely cared? The question kept bothering me. Until one day, I received a phone call that changed everything. It was the same lawyer. Emily, he said carefully, there's something you need to see. My stomach tightened. What do you mean? I recently found another document while reviewing your parents' files. Another document? That shouldn't exist. But the lawyer insisted. Please come to my office tomorrow. I didn't sleep that night. Something felt wrong. The next day, the lawyer placed a thin folder on the table. Inside was an older version of the will. And this one looked completely different. In this version, everything was split equally. Half for Daniel, half for me. Just like I always expected. Wait, I whispered. This is dated 3 years ago, the lawyer said. 3 years ago, right before my father got sick. So what happened? I asked. The lawyer sighed. There was a newer version filed later, the one we read last week. My hands were shaking. Who changed it? The lawyer hesitated. Your brother was present when the new document was signed. My heart dropped. No. The lawyer looked at me seriously. The signatures appear questionable. Questionable. In other words, possibly fake. Suddenly, everything made sense. Daniel showing up more often near the end. Daniel handling paperwork. Daniel insisting he would help Mom with legal stuff. My chest filled with anger. He didn't just take the inheritance. He might have stolen it. From both me and our parents. I looked at the lawyer. What can I do? He leaned forward. If the will was forged or manipulated, you can challenge it in court. A lawsuit. Against my own brother. Part of me hesitated, but then I remembered all the nights I cared for our parents while he was gone. All the sacrifices. All the lies. And his smile when he took everything. That's when I made my decision. I want to fight it. The court battle lasted almost a year. Daniel hired expensive lawyers. He tried to paint me as jealous and greedy. He told the court I was angry because I expected money. But the evidence kept growing. Handwriting experts noticed irregularities. Witnesses confirmed Daniel pushed our parents to sign documents when they were weak. And then, the biggest twist happened. The hospital records showed something shocking. On the day the new will was signed, my father was heavily sedated from chemotherapy. He could barely stay conscious. Which meant one thing: he couldn't have legally approved the document. The courtroom went silent when that evidence was presented. Daniel's face turned pale. For the first time, he looked afraid. 3 weeks later, the judge made the final decision. Declared invalid, which meant the original will was restored. Everything was split equally. Half for Daniel, half for me. Justice, finally. But the real twist happened after the trial. Because Daniel didn't just lose the case. The court also investigated the forgery. And forging a will is a serious crime. A few months later, my brother was arrested. I remember getting the news while drinking coffee at my kitchen table. For the first time in years, I felt peace. Not because he was in trouble, but because the truth finally came out. Today, I still own half the house, but I decided not to move back. Instead, I sold my share and used the money to start a new life. New city, new job, new beginning. Sometimes people ask if I hate my brother. The truth is, I don't, because hate takes energy. And after everything that happened, I'd rather spend my energy living a life he can never take from me again. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more crazy Reddit stories every week.